It's 935 K-Day Morning Show.
Yes,
Romeo
sir.
and my bro, Akon.
What's going on, baby?
Man, it's good to have you back in the building, bro.
Nah, thank you. You too, man.
I'm wondering, I know it took a while because I know you were doing the business thing with Akon City, and they said that you took some time off of music for that.
Yeah.
But how do you turn off that creativity during that time? Like, how does that work for you?
Well, that's the thing. I never really turned it off.
Okay.
I was still writing and producing for other artists, so it kind of kept me in the business.
Got you.
Kept my wave within the industry standard to an extent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Because the game changes every other 6 months, right?
Come on, man.
Boy.
Yeah. And you've seen them make all these changes, but you still manage to stay on top of the game, and that's why I applaud you for doing that.
I appreciate
right?
that. Thank you, man. Thank
Beautiful day. I mean, it's the perfect song for you.
you. Yeah, man.
I mean, the way you singing it, your tone, everything about it. You know, musically, we both on that same page, and I just
Right.
admire your work, man. So
I appreciate that.
this came about. Was it the track first? Was it the lyrics you had in your head? Was it a melody?
Actually, it was more of a mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like I was evaluating the industry and where it's going. I was looking at it like, man, this is probably the best moment that women had for music. I've seen more female artists, get big, more female rappers get presented and come out. But then I was also looking at how that moment also is like the lyrical content don't reflect the women itself.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was a time when we was being chastised for speaking about things that women are talking about now.
Absolutely.
They rated R. We was rated PG.
Yeah.
Like we would use metaphors for what they talking about. You know what I'm saying?
And they
Like
saying it.
peaches and you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yup.
Like apples and cherry. Like we would use fruits. They saying it out loud. Like
they putting it out there.
and
they
then
showing
I watch how the drill rappers are like killing each other and utilizing their music as a way of taunting each other with it and smoking each other on live with disrespecting families. And I just felt like the vibration of music was just so low right now. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, if anything, if I can contribute in any way, is to kind of lift our vibrations a little bit more. Talking about more positive music, remind people just how every day can be so beautiful to you if you just see all the things that we've been benefited to have.
Yeah.
Versus all the things we want and all the things that's kind of driving us to be, these evil people, man.
What you just said is kind of what separates you from a lot of people, a lot of artists, because you talked about looking at the industry as a whole.
Right.
Most cats see their lane. Okay, let me hop in that lane, see if I can get a bag off of that. Let me do this.
Right.
Let me say what they're saying. You're saying, no, maybe we're at a point where we need to take a step back or appreciate what's happening.
Because believe it or not, it's actually, it can get dangerous because it's getting dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Like it's getting dangerous to the point where it's affecting families. But more than anything, half your favorite rappers can't even be in the same arena.
Yeah.
You can't even enjoy a show or a club walkthrough without somebody either getting killed or something happening or, putting two women in the same room without them pulling their hairs out. You know what I mean? So it's gotten to the point where the energy just ain't fun no more.
Yeah.
So I feel like, okay, this could be the beginning of hopefully. And one thing I do know about the industry is it's a bandwagon type of game, right? If one thing becomes successful, everybody does it.
Yep.
So
real quick.
The moment this record drops, hit number one, you're going to see more positive records come out there. You're going to see more records with substance come out there, and I think the game will slowly change.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And I think in the first quarter of 2025 is when you're going to drop the whole project. Is that what you're shooting for?
Yep. We dropped the whole project. It's called Not Guilty.
And Money's going to drop next month?
Money's dropping next month,
Beautiful
baby.
Day and Money. I kind of like the way the titles are going.
Yeah, Beautiful Day. It's Akon's Beautiful Day, and then the second one is Akon's Money.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm making it about me, so that way nobody can get offended. It's me. It's coming from me. I'm the one saying it.
Okay. I respect that. So throughout your career, my man, I've seen what you've done and what you've accomplished. And there's certain songs at K-Day where we bump all the time.
Right.
Stay in rotation.
Oh, man.
Forever.
Thank you, too, by the way, bro. Y'all kept me alive.
And we're going to
You know
continue to do that. I promise you that.
Boy, y'all keep me alive, baby. Thank you so much.
So let's take this little journey. Let's talk about the Snoop Dogg, I Want to Love You, how that one came about. Let's talk about that for a second.
That one was an interesting record because when I did that, I was doing that as a production, and I had made it for Trick Daddy originally.
Interesting.
That was supposed to be a Trick Daddy record originally. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
But then I emailed it to the Slip and Slide email, and somehow Pliers got a hold of it.
Okay.
Pliers got a hold of it, did verses on it, and put it out on the satellite. I mean, it was on the I think it was it was the like illegal radios at the time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like these pirate radios.
Yeah.
And the record became, like literally within a weekend, it became crazy. All the clubs picked it up, and the record just started slamming. Next thing you know, Steve Riffin called me. He's like, yo, did you put out a record that we don't know about? He said, you trending in Miami on this big record. And I was like, what record are you talking about? I'm not even knowing.
Yeah.
Then I heard Plies' version. I was like, yo, this shit is hot. But then I was like, wait, but this is the record I sent for Trick.
So when Trick Daddy Plies got it,
Right, so the record became super big. So
Right.
Steve was like, "Look, we're not gonna give this record to nobody. This is your next record. You gotta do something quick. I need you to add verses on it and figure out a feature." I was like, "Well, let's just keep pliers on it. The record already working. And the boy's dope." He's like, "Yeah, but he's too new. We need somebody big." I said, "Okay, Snoop would be perfect." I was thinking either Snoop or Too Short, one of the two at that time. But Snoop was like, he just had that. I was like a Snoop. And then I had my relationship with Dre already. So I was like, yeah, let's call Snoop. I called Snoop, sent him the record after I put my new verses on there, and he loved it. Had it back in 24 hours. And literally that same week, we serviced the same record out there again. But then I felt so bad, man.
I know,
because I was like,
man.
dang, man, this record's so big. This could have been a record that could have broke plies. The record is already working, so we had to put a cease and desist on his version. So then I went to Miami and I met with him personally, man. And then through the conversation, we ended up coming. I told him I'd give him a whole nother record, and that's when I gave him Hypnotized.
Can't be mad at that.
Yeah,
can't be mad at that. He's like, I'm gonna take her. I'm gonna give you this.
Don't worry, I got you.
Locked Up. Let's talk about that.
Locked
Styles
Up.
P.
Woo,
Let's
boy.
talk about that. Another record that we bang
till
on all
this
the
day,
time.
man, I always give Styles P the most, appreciated homage, because I remember reaching out to so many rappers at that time, and nobody wouldn't do it because I wasn't nobody at the time. And
Even
then,
after hearing, did they hear your demo or hear how you laid it down already or no?
no, normally you would send them the record.
Yeah.
And then but it was an R&B record. It was a little bit new because at that time I was an R&B singer that was kind of singing about what rappers was rapping about, and that was a little bit cliche because R&B was always meant to be more lovey-dovey, And then at that time it was a lot of begging going on, so I was totally outside the scope. So first of all, they like, man, this ain't really no R&B, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just, it was weird, but BT felt like it wasn't urban enough, and then MTV felt like it was too urban. So I was stuck on that little mix. So we had to find an identity for it, and that's when I said, okay, let's just put a rapper on it, and it make it more like a hip hop. So we reached out to everybody. And then next, I heard that Styles P was in jail, and I was like, wait, ain't that dude from the Locks? He said, yeah. I said, he would be perfect if he would do it. He's already in jail.
He
and
locked
this
up.
record speaks about him. Like we went through the same thing. And sure enough, I had called D and Y from Rough Riders, and I was like, yo, man, you think Styles would get on this record? He said, man, absolutely. So he reached out to him. Styles heard the record, and he was like, man, he ain't got to pay me nothing. This is it. This is my life right now.
Wow.
And sure enough, but he did it. He ain't charged me a dime. He came through the video. Man, till this day, we've been super close, but I always felt like he was the one that actually, like, launched my career, because when that record came on, people didn't know that was the same record I was servicing, because we put him at the top of the song.
Right off the back, yeah.
Off the bat. Locked Up, They Won't Let Me Out. It was like, and then that beat was just like, it was a hip hop beat for sure, right? But boy, when Hot 97 picked that thing up, it just, man, it was, New York just became, it just set off everything.
And the thing is, when they grab a hold of it, records like that got to make their way to the West Coast.
Eventually, it's going to make it. Like,
East or West, if it jumps off, it's going to make its way to the other side.
100%.
Baby Bash. Baby, I'm back. That's my guy right there, too,
I love
dude.
Bash, man. Bash actually reached out to me. He's like, man, look, man, I need that shindig from you, man. You know what I mean?
That's him all day. That shindig, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I said, what you mean? He said, man, listen, right now, you're the hottest man but nobody used you in the West Coast. I want to be the first Mexican used in the West Coast.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I had, mind you, by the way, I hadn't heard of him before he came to my show. I wasn't familiar. I didn't know the name, but funny enough, when he was playing me his records, I knew his songs, but didn't know him.
Yeah.
And when I heard some of the records, I was like, oh man, yeah.
It just worked so perfect.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
It was like the perfect, and believe it or not, he kind of opened me up to the West Coast market too.
Okay.
Yeah, especially on the Latin side.
See, the dope
I
part
grew
is
a big Latin following after doing that record with him.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because they love that record. We all love that record, man.
Right.
And it still hits. Like, that's one of his last songs he performed before he get off, because that's a banger
that's
for
what's
him.
up, man. That's what's up.
Soul Survivor.
Woo,
Jeezy.
that was another one.
Again, just think about, we just going through your
Yeah, we
catalog,
going
bro.
through it,
Like,
man. We going that, you know what? You know how they always ask you, what is the one record that you probably, wish you never gave away?
yeah.
That was the one record I used to think, like, damn, man, I don't know if I should have gave that one out, right? But then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I'm so glad I did it, because it wouldn't have did what it did if Jeezy wasn't on it. Jeezy, when I tell you he killed that record, like, it was interesting because around that time, that's when we had a lot going on in Atlanta. And then Big Meech had called me and was like, look, man, I got this artist con. Bro, I need you to bless me, man. I need you to bless me. So he introduced me to Jeezy. And then I went to Jeezy to the studio, and Jeezy played me his whole mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard the mixtape, I was like, bro, this is a mixtape? This needs to be an album.
Yeah.
Like, when I tell you, bro, Jeezy had the hottest mixtape in the South at that time. It wasn't a strip club that you would go to that didn't play his whole mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
You know how sometimes you go in and they just play your single.
Yeah.
They was playing Jeezy's whole mixtape from top to bottom, every strip club.
Damn. Yeah.
Literally every strip club.
Yeah, the streets on lock.
Man, smash.
Yeah,
Streets
man.
on smash. But then when we followed up with that Soul Survivor, it was over.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
knocked it out the park.
Yeah, it was
And
over.
we think about you finding T-Pain, or how'd that come about, that relationship? I mean, 'cause
Man,
to me,
T-Pain
it
was an interesting
perfect.
one. Yeah, that was interesting. Because actually, my little brother Boo discovered T-Pain and brought him to me.
Okay.
So Boo called me. He's like, yo, man, there's this kid, man. He got this record kind of yours. I thought it was yours. I thought you had made a remix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it was actually Pain had redid Locked Up, but his was called Effed Up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know, speaking about him in poverty. You know, all his homies got, you know, cars. He riding a bike. I'm effed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he had that was it. And then when I heard, I was like, "Ooh, this boy hard." Because that version was so stupid, right? But it was just a demo and never been released. But he did kind of circulate it through Tallahassee.
Yeah.
And that's how Boo found out about it and brought it to me. But when I met Payne, it was one of those things like I didn't know quite where he stood, because at that time we didn't think that the image matched the music,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then after I spoke to Payne, I understood what he was.
Yeah.
I said, we can't approach him like a rapper or a singer for that matter, because actually he was a rapper that was turned to singer.
But he got vocals too. Like, that's what's so crazy.
Boy, that boy can rap. He can sing. Like, he didn't even need auto-tune, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's let it be known
At
too.
all.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's making it known, because I think we kind of forced it on him, because that was something, I think more of an idea that I felt like it would stand him out from everybody else, because nobody was doing it at the time. And it sounded like a great, great idea, because it did work. And it
So
became
whose
industry
call was
standard.
it to go auto-tune?
At this point, I would just say it was our choice.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
if he didn't want to do it, he wouldn't have did it.
Gotcha.
But he also trusted me too at the same time, right? But for the most part, the Payne is so creative, and I never want to take nothing from him. He also had me on a level where I was like, I think I need to be using auto-tune too.
Yeah.
He was so successful with it,
Yeah.
I had to tap it on mine.
He ran that.
What?
Like,
Ran it.
For real, for real.
Ran it. you
I
know?
mean, and the list obviously can go on and on. And
Right.
you and I talked before about the Lady Gaga situation. That was a huge moment for you.
Yeah.
Were you almost like her last hope in that situation, since the label was so confused about what to do with her?
I would probably say I probably would, because I don't know if I hadn't came in, I wouldn't know where she would be today.
Yeah.
Because she had went through like 4 or 5 labels before then, and then she landed at Interscope, which was probably the biggest blessing she ever had, because Jimmy Iovine is probably the most smartest executives in the business, and he's a music guy. So he signed her originally, and when I did my label deal over at Interscope, he just naturally made the connection.
Oh, okay.
He just knew that, okay, Khan would know what to do with this one. But I don't think it was in his mind until I picked up that phone after we left that studio with me in Red One. I was like, yo, Jimmy, who the hell is this chick? Like,
Yeah. You saw it.
can I get this one? Like, because he gave me a list of other artists that I could have actually naturally just, inherited for my label. Because I had artists, but I want to see what was already in the building.
Right.
Rather than going out signing artists, they were already in the building. Like, what we need help in. And he was like, you sure? I was like, Jimmy, this is it. I promise you. Just throw me this bone. I'll throw it right back. I promise
Now,
you.
what you heard on her in that moment, what type of record was it? Or was it
At the
just her
time,
voice?
yeah, her demos were more like jazzy.
Okay.
I didn't think that it fit her. I didn't think it was even for the time at that time. Even though she's the most talented jazz, pianist and classical, like she comes from that background. That's why, and I think that's where her love and passion always been. So after she did that success with us, you notice she found herself back in Vegas doing classical jazz with Tony Bennett, because that's like she comes from that world, right? So, and that was our main thing. Like, once you become who you are, you can always go back to do what you always wanted to do. But I think her music kind of reflected more of that vibe then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree,
it kind
yeah.
of sounded really similar to what she's doing on the Joker album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think at that time, I just don't believe it was going to work. It was more about what she wanted to do at that time, and she was more in the 80s vibe and thinking, so we had to create that sound for her.
And y'all did just
Yeah.
that. That's for sure, man. Once again, the journey with Akon, which brings us today. Akon, beautiful day.
Absolutely.
Akon, money on the way.
You know what I'm saying?
You've opened up the door for so many people, man, and that's what's such a blessing, like to know you and just know how genuine you are.
Nah, thank you, man.
And that means a lot. I mean, because this conversation, we could talk about lots of things, but I just want to take that journey with you.
Right.
You know, kind of give you your flowers, bro.
No, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
So once again, new album is going to be dropping in early 2025. Akon, beautiful day. They can check that out right now.
Yes.
You already got a visual for Akon Money?
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be serious.
All
It's gonna be serious.
Already know what it is. Already know what it is.
I want to put the hat out the bag, but I gotta let Akon beautiful day get his moment real quick.
Okay. Thursday night show going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
So it's gonna be it's headliners only.
Yeah.
It's a partnership with me and Kevin Hart. The first headliners only was done with Chris Rock and Kevin Hart, based more on comedy, where they interview each other, you know, their tribes, tribulation, challenges, successes, and then they brought out the GOAT, which was Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
It was amazing, right? So we figured, okay, let's do a music segment of that where we can just now take music and get a whole bunch of headliners and pair them up like how we doing it. So the first pair was me and Burna Boy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna knock that out. We're filming on the 23rd and the 24th.
Okay.
The 23rd is more, you know, performance, live shots, and then 24th is the actual concert, which we will also film. That will be a concert film that's going to go into all the major theatricals come March. So it's going to be in all the movie theaters.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Akon's that dude. Please believe that. This is my brother. I appreciate you
Yeah,
stopping
man,
by,
for
man.
sure, big dog.
Anytime, you know that.
Absolutely.
Let's get it.